In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, and we are here for another rockin' and rollin' episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. Okay. And in the studio with us tonight is our trusty law firm mascot, Drake, a Labrador Retriever, Yellow Lab. He's here laying in my feet, just chilling out. And he's going to be with us for this round and this session. So listen, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. It's really kind of a cool topic because it's something that you law students and you lawyers really need to grasp and a lot of you grapple with it. And it's a subject that came up today in a discussion as I was in what we call the council meeting in Wake Up Warrior. And at Wake Up Warrior, I'm a member of, been since 2018. It was founded and it is led by Garrett J. White, who is a master genius entrepreneur in marketing and everything business and everything in the four domains of body, being, balance, and business. And clearly, he is a man fulfilled and on a mission. So we were talking, and I thought, this would be something great to talk about tonight. And it's this thing, and I never thought about it like this. It's about speaking versus talking. Because he brought some good points, and I have to agree. As being a lawyer for decades, when people talk, sometimes they're not really saying anything, and you don't really remember what they say because they're talking and they bore you to death to the point where you want to get a pencil eraser and you just want to cut your wrist with it. Okay, to put yourself out of misery. And then you have this topic, this subject of speaking, where in speaking, people feel the emotion, they feel the effect of what you say. And so maybe perhaps they don't remember exactly what you said, but they remember how they felt when you said what you said. And we went into this discussion. He went into a discussion about speaking that it has rhythm and that talking really becomes noise, but speaking is a form of singing. And I thought about that and I'm like, it is. Because when you think about singers, put to music and tempo and everything else, it's speaking to music and from instruments. But again, when you speak, it's like a music in itself, depending upon the effect that it has on you. And we got into this thing talking about the four keys of speaking, of tone, of tempo, of timing, and tune. Where, basically when you talk about your tone, it's going from high to low. And riding like this roller coaster instead of just being this monotone robot. And the tempo, should we speed it up or maybe slow it down? And then we get into the thing about timing, the pause. And a lot of times when we pause, we say, and I find myself doing that too. And then we get into tune, which is basically your ability to find your true voice, trying to find your true voice. Okay. And so I thought about this and I thought, wow, this is just a great topic, because when you sit there and you listen to people talk and then people speak, it's kind of like when people are running for office, in the presidential elections, things like that. And sometimes they're just talking. They're not really speaking. They're not connecting. I mean, I have heard presidential candidates and presidents speak that just left me speechless and left me filled with this emotion And I may not remember every particular word or statement that they made, but I just remember being in their presence, or certain people in my life being in their presence, and just the way they carried themselves, the way they spoke. It just connects. And I thought, well, really, what is speaking to me? And I asked myself, what is speaking to me? And I thought, you know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's the passion of the heart, the brain, and your soul purpose forged into connecting with others. It's the ultimate I see you stack. Now, in Wake Up Warrior, we have this thing called the stack, where it's a software program. There's different types of stacks: rage, irritation, happy stack, gratitude stack, production stacks. I mean, where you force yourself to go through the software and get clarity and focus and strength. And it's just an amazing tool for people to accelerate their lives in a collapsed time. So I thought about it. I'm like, when we talk about, do you see me? Not just like visually, but do you honestly see who I am, what I am, and who and what comprises me? That's what I think about when somebody speaks to me. I'm like, do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you hear what I'm saying? So that when you speak to me, you understand the pain in my life. You understand what I'm going through. And this happens a lot of times when I do consults with clients here at the law office. And instead of just talking to them and going down this laundry list of here's your legal rights and blah, 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 I want to connect. I want to feel the pain and pull the pain out of them because they're in this deep pit, this abyss. And I want to pull them up from the pit and get to the peak of the mountain. And so instead of just talking to them in legalese, I want to speak to them. I want to speak to them to where they connect with me, where they feel the emotion of the words that I say and how I say it. Because human beings are not robots. They're not. We all talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and I'll tell you, I get it. I do. AI, to me, is a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool. It's a faster system to process information or access information, but it doesn't have any soul. It doesn't. And it will never replace human beings. Oh, sure, it'll make things go faster. It gives people a competitive edge, but I'm going to tell you something. It still comes down to the human being speaking, not talking, but speaking to another human being. Speak to each other. I see this in restaurants a lot when families are going out. You know what they're on? They're on their phones. They're on their phones. They're not speaking to one another. They're talking. They're texting, and then there's talking and saying some words, and there's no connection. This is what I don't like about cell phones, the smartphones. I'll tell you what, they're not so smart after all. Because these smartphones that we have, and these smart tablets and these smart computers, they've taken the speaking away from us. And now all we do is talk. We just talk on a keyboard. And don't get me wrong, words can be powerful. You can read books, and the pages on those books can just get right down to the raw emotion. As if the book, the pages, the words are speaking to you. But in today's society, in today's world, we're not speaking to one another anymore. We're just talking. And a lot of times when we're talking, we're really not saying anything. We're not. Because the words that we talk are not really action words. They're just bullet lists. They're just jumble, word salad. But when you speak, it's a verb. It's an action word. You're taking some sort of action. It's just like, you mumble like, I love you. Okay, well, okay. And you're just talking. But if you really look at somebody and you say, I really do love you, and you speak to them in such a manner, in such a way, and with such a passion, that when they feel real love, when they feel really desired, when they really feel wanted, they connect with you on a level that's just unparalleled. I can give you an analogy. It's like, okay, anybody can have sex. That's true. Sure, anybody can. Any two people can have sex, do the physical act. But to have real intimacy, requires two individuals to really speak in intimate terms. Not talk in intimate acts, but speak to one another in intimate terms. And that's where society, that's where the human race, that's where we're failing miserably, because we're just talking to one another and we're not speaking to one another. Think about that for a moment. Think about everyday people that you interact with. You go to work and you're just talking to them and you're talking to them and you're talking to them and you're giving commands or orders, or maybe you're taking commands and orders, and maybe you're the supervisor, maybe you're the one in charge, maybe you're the leader, I don't know. But you're just talking. And that's why a lot of people are dissatisfied and unhappy in their careers and their jobs, because people are just talking. They're not speaking. It's the same thing in the legal matrix. The legal matrix doesn't speak. It just talks. It consumes. It doesn't see you the way that human beings are supposed to see one another. The legal matrix it sees the outline of who you are. It doesn't care who you are. And it just consumes you. It doesn't give anything back. Versus you and I, we're human beings. When we speak to one another, we can give a gift to one another, a gift of emotion, a gift of connection, a gift of love, a gift of feeling, a gift of, validity, a gift of, I see you. I see you right here. I see you. Think about the first time, perhaps, when your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you're dating for a while, and one of you said it for the first time, I love you, and really meant it. They didn't just talk the words. They spoke the words. Think about how you felt at that moment. Think about how you felt at that moment. And how did you feel? Did you connect? Would it be the same if, say, an AI robot said, I love you, a machine, powered by a computer chip, programmed by humans? No. See, that's the whole thing about being a human being versus a smartphone, a smart tablet, a desktop computer. They're just circuits, electronic circuits. But you and me, we're flesh and blood with a brain and a heart and an ability to speak words, not just talk words, but to speak words. There's nothing more powerful in this world, nothing, than the ability to speak to other human beings, to where you leave such an impression and such an emotion and such a connection. I mean, think about going back even in Christianity, in biblical history, when Jesus, whether you believe who he is or not, but of what he said, he spoke to people. He spoke to them. They could feel the connection. They could feel there was something special about not just him, but about them. And he felt and he conveyed that feeling that they were special. Think about that. Versus your politicians today who talk to you. Talking points. I hate this thing, talking points. Talking points. Here it is, a smorgasbord of talking points of what I'm going to do for you. That's not speaking to you. That's not connecting. It's just regurgitating something on a checklist that you could read on your own. So I want you to think about this. I want you really to think about it when you're just sitting there and you come home from work or you come home from school or whatever activity it is you're doing in the day, and think about every single person that you interacted with during that day. Did they talk to you? Or did they speak to you? Did you talk to them? Or did you speak to them? There's a clear distinction, a huge difference in talking and speaking. There is. Because when you're really in this deep passion where your heart and your brain and your sole purpose are all in unison and they're connecting, firing on all cylinders, then you're a real human being. You're not AI. Not at all. Because when the words that come forth from you can make another human being transform into something that they have never been, that they have never felt before, then you know. Then you know that you've arrived and you are not just a talker, but you're a speaker. So ask yourself the better questions. Where in your world are you talking when you should be speaking? And if you are talking, how can you transform to be the best speaker that there is? It's a very important distinction. Don't be AI. Be a real human being. Don't just talk to people. Don't even just talk to yourself. Speak to yourself. Speak to other human beings. Put the phones down. Put the tablets down. Put the desktops down. Put the keyboards down. Shake somebody's hand. Look them in the eye. And speak to them. If you just speak to people and they speak back to you, I would dare venture to say the world will be a much better place. All right. It's a lot to think about. This is Bryce Unier, coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, where every day men and women don the uniform and fight for the freedoms. Some people talk and utter commands, and that's part of the military process. And then others can speak and inspire their soldiers to move forward. This is Bryce Unier, and I am out of here.